Okay, cool. So let me give you a quick demo of ClearLedger, the app that I put together. So the app solves two problems. The first one is actually auto categorizing your expenses automatically, powered by AI. And the second one is actually reconciling your bank statement with different categories and with different currencies. Let me log in into the system with my email address. Once you load into the system, you land on this page, which is your main dashboard. You don't actually see anything yet in here because we didn't upload any data, but as you can see, the system is prompting you to upload your first bank statement. So here on the left, we have different tabs. So you can see that I'm a pro member, so I have like some PDF upload limits just to limit a little bit the cost of uploading this transaction and the cost of AI reading the transactions. So that's why we have a paid version of it. We have also a tab that shows the transaction, then the categories and the rules. We will see how those two play nicely with the transaction. So the first thing to do would be uploading into the system a set of transactions. So what I'm going to do right now, I'm going to simply upload one Excel file. And as you can see, the system instantly detects many things: the date, the description, the currency that's used in the file, the money in and money out, if it's split, or if you have like two separate columns, or if you have a single amount. And of course, in here, you start to see a preview of all the rows. So what I'm going to do now is going to click import transaction and let the system upload it. As you can see, that this passage was instant, so I've uploaded 554 transaction. Let's now see how the system renders those transactions. First things first, you can see that all the categories are uncategorized. It would be a nightmare for everyone that wants to categorize the expenses going through each and every single line. So that's exactly what I was struggling with. So what I put together is this auto create rule. So it's a simple wizard that allows you to categorize transaction. You can pick what you want based on, if you want to categorize only the uncategorized transaction. So maybe it's like, it's a cyclical thing. Maybe you need to run the auto creation of the rule a couple of times to help you, or if you want to do it for all the transactions. So I'm gonna do it for all the transactions now. I'm gonna start the analysis, and the system will now detect patterns in the description field, as you can see here, and start to group those transactions together. Of course, what is the great thing about this step? As you can see, the system gives you also an overview of how good and how easy it was to recognize patterns for income and expenses. Yeah, so I just set myself a target of 80%. It's actually something that every user can set. But as you can see, all the incomes coming from this faster payment. So this is me like transferring my money to myself. So you can see that those have all the same pattern. So this makes it easy for me to assign it to this category. So this is just to look at the income rules. And now let's look at the expense rules. So you can see that the system is recognizing that Uber belongs to the transport category. You can see that Amazon subscription and purchases goes into Amazon, YouTube subscription, Stansted subscription, and so on. So you can see that the system is giving us information, and they are like fairly good. What we can also do, we have subsequent subsequent patterns that they were like recognized. So as you can see that you can eventually select those, and then the system will create those categories for you. And the fun thing is that if you tick the box, you can see that the counter goes up. Let me go the next step. So here just place an alert just to say that we are below our target for the expenses. but let's click next and see what the system proposes us. So as you can see, the system proposes us to create 17 rules. You can hit create and you can see that here the rules are created. Good. And now we start categorizing our transaction. Let's click done. And then let's see what the system did in the backend. So the first thing, you can see that we have those rules in here now. So the rules are actually created for you. You didn't create it, you create this just analyzing the transaction. So this saves a huge amount of time. The second thing is that eventually you can create a rule yourself. So you can select a category and we have the possibility to select, to create rules based on different fields, also using a formula like if description contain salary or payroll, then you can add a condition and the amount is greater than 0, then this becomes an income. Okay, or maybe you can have a category called salary, and so on. So you have free possibility to create those rules yourself. Of course, we're talking about rules. Of course, we have the category, so same concept here. Those are preset category that I made available to everyone that logs into the app. But this is not like a default. It could be that you have different categories that you have to manage and you can create it easily. But now let's deep dive into what is actually the best part of the software, which is this dashboard. As you can see here, the system is displaying the dashboard. So let's click so let's now apply the rules that we created. So if you remember, the first step was actually to auto create the rules, but we didn't actually apply those rules already. So what we need to do is reapply the rules so that the system is actually filtering through the transaction, identifying the right categories, applying the right categories based on the criteria and the pattern that the system identified, and this will be the basic information that will be used in our dashboard to do what we call the analysis. You can see that now the rules I have applied, so this expenses are actually categorized, which is like a great feature now. So let's move into the dashboard and let's see what our results look like. There we go. So we have our results by spending and income, and we also have different views. So this is like a spending by category. Here you have income versus expenses. That gives you like a great overview. I also introduced like a clustered view that splits the income or expenses based on their category and stacks them by color. There's another overview on the top income and top spending categories, and here you have like another important overview that gives you a summary. Other cool feature, as you can see here from the top, we are able to change the dates, also introduce like a custom date, but also let's see how the system reacts when you change to different currency. So this, depending on the amount of transaction that you have and the amount of categorized transaction that you have, it's going to take a little bit more time. This is probably something that it takes time to do it the first time. Then the system caches the information and gives you the overview in pound or whatever currency you select. And if anyone is asking, the system is converting that expense with the forex exchange at that specific date. It's not just like a simple multiplier here. Other cool feature, you can see here that we have an uncategorized button at the very top. We can click this uncategorized button and the system returns the list of all the uncategorized transaction. So here we give the possibility to the user to start refining the categorization. So what we can do, for example, I can see that Arezzo comes up a lot. I can use wildcard And as you can see, the system filters out everything that's assigned to Arezzo that in the transaction contains Arezzo. I can select all the visible expenses, and in this case expenses, because I can see that they are below 0, and I can assign it to the correct category. So in this case would be shopping. There we go. Now the dashboard refreshes, so it brings up all the new data, which is like great because we have a simultaneous update of the transaction. There we go. So we have the system displaying us all the data, and yeah, that's fairly intuitive and fairly easy to do. Yeah. Going back to the transaction, probably the last thing that we should talk about, which is like a great feature, is what if we want to reiterate the creation of the rules? What if we're not like satisfied from the first approach, the first run that the system is did actually to analyze patterns? So we can also go back into the auto create rules, and this time we don't want to touch all the existing rules and all the existing transactions. We can look at the uncategorized transaction only. So let's look at analyze. The system is now analyzing a small subset of information, 334 in this case. So what the system does in this moment is, other than filtering and looking at the pattern, so it's actually like doing a deeper dive than the first time. So which is actually great because it gives you like a better insight. And as you can see here, we have the income rules, no income rules selected, so everything looks good. What the system though realize is that we do have other expenses that looks to be recurring, so we have introduced other filters. What I wanted to do here is also giving you the possibility to see what the system can actually do. So now maybe this is not the correct case, but what the system can do in case the system finds some general patterns, it can suggest you to create not to create a different rule, but to actually expand an existing rule, which is great because otherwise we would end up creating millions of rules together that we will never gonna use. So I'm simply going to go ahead. You can see that we are reaching the 80% target. This income coverage in theory should be something that we can actually ignore, because as you can see I'm looking at $2 here, so that's not the overall amount. Yeah, let's go ahead and create the 16 rules. See that the system is creating the 16 rules. Then if you go back and click reapply the rules, the system is now reapplying the rules to all the new transactions that were not categorized, and then makes it very easy. To us to report on those transactions. You can see that in here we have 119 transactions that are already categorized. So let's go back on the dashboard. There we go. We have more total expenses. You can see that the image of the pie chart here is different. You can see that the system is actually categorizing the expenses for us. And the very nice last touch that we have, other than of course this information at the top, is this. So we do have the possibility to export the transaction in Excel, CSV, or PDF for further analysis, or if you want to submit this to someone. But also, if we want to print this dashboard just for us, just to keep like a physical piece of paper, we can do it. Thank you very much.